guys, and welcome to Simply Made by Erin, my crochet channel. Today we're making these pretty little sunflower appliques. The original design had the center left open so you can fit it right around the button of my crochet towel holder pattern. Just slides right around the button, and then you can switch it out seasonally. I have a few other flower patterns that I'm working on. And if you have the 2-ring version, you can make that one work as well. Just sew a faux button on the front of the 2-ring version, or you can just sew the flower right on. If you sew it on, it won't be removable, so I definitely recommend kind of a non-working button on that 2-ring version. You can also close the center of the sunflower in and use it as a bag charm, garland, so many different options, and it's really, really quick and easy to work up. So I used a cotton worsted weight yarn, and I used 2 strands held together. So Lion Brand Made with Love, the Cottony One is what I like. There's a lot of really pretty colors. This is the color Gold Metal. This is a 60% cotton, 40% acrylic yarn. Because we are not using it to withstand heat, the blend of cotton is fine. If you were using it in the kitchen as like a pot holder or something, you definitely want 100% cotton. But the flowers, it works great. So this is the color Gold Metal. That is what I use for the petals. And then for the center, Hot Cocoa, it's this really pretty brown color. And then the leaves, Olive Twist. So you just need a very small amount of each of those colors. You will also need an H 5mm crochet hook, and then a tapestry needle to weave your ends in, a stitch marker, scissors, and then gauge is really not important in this pattern, but if you want to have a flexible measuring tape on hand, that might be helpful so that you can measure kind of the size of the flower to see if you're in line to what my size is. If you'd like, you can also use 1 strand only and just go down a hook size, and you'll get a slightly smaller flower. So this one was 1 strand, that one's 2 strands. So they both look really nice. I like it to be really nice and chunky and oversized on the front of that towel holder. And that's why I made it with 2 strands held together. But they both look cute. I'm going to get set up and we are going to work on the flower and starting on the center. Okay, so before we get started, I forgot to mention if you are using a button on your towel holder to put the flower on, I recommend about 3/4 of an inch to an inch size button. I just think it works best. You can really use any size you want because you can make the center any size, but I just think that size looks proportionate and it makes it easy to form that center of the flower. Okay, so 2 strands held together. If you only have 1 skein of yarn, just pull from the center and the outside of the skein. And we need a tail long enough to weave our ends in, so about like that. And we're gonna wrap the yarn around our finger twice to create a magic ring or magic circle. Then insert your hook under all the loops, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then chain 1 to secure that circle closed. Okay, so if you want the open center, we are going to work 10 single crochet in the circle. So you insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we'll continue that around until we have 10 total stitches. If you want the closed circle like this, you want to do half double crochets instead of single crochets, and the same amount of numbers, just 10 half double crochet. So you'd yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 3. Again, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. Okay, so I'm gonna do the open circle today. So I'm gonna finish doing 10 single crochet, and then I will meet you here for round 2. Okay, So the 10 single crochet are finished. You take your tail and you just tighten it, leaving that circle open enough to fit around the button. So let me show you. You'll want the button that you're using in hand so you can kind of adjust it around the button. You want it a little loose, a little looser than the button, but you want to make sure you can slide it on and off easily. When you weave this end in, it's going to tighten this circle a little bit, so you do not want to get it too tight. Start off a little bit looser and make adjustments if you need to. So this is good for my button. So once you have that done, you can weave that beginning tail in. So again, you're going around the center, so you are going to tighten that center up a little bit by doing this. We do not join at the end of round 1, so that's why it kind of looks like that. I didn't do a slip stitch join. Okay, so just go nice and neat around the center, and then I go in the opposite direction, usually 2 more times. So there's, oops, I pulled it out. Make sure you don't pull the yarn out when you go in the opposite direction. You have to kind of put your needle through the fibers so it kind of stays in place, or go under, skip this loop. I don't know if you can see it. Skip this loop and go on top of it and then under, so it holds that yarn in place. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think I only did it twice, so I'm going to go back through one more time. Okay. You can also wait to weave your end in after round 2, but I'm just doing it now just because it's hard for me to show you things on camera when that tail is kind of flopping around. Okay, so this is what it looks like after round 1. If you did the half double crochet to have the closed center, you just pull the tail all the way closed and weave it in. Okay, so now we want to find that first single crochet or first half double crochet of round 1, which is right here. I'll actually use this needle. Okay, so this is front and back loops only. We want to mark the back loop only with a stitch marker. So this right here would be the front loop. And remember, since we use 2 strands held together, you'll have 2 loops there. And then the back loops would be right here, and you'll have 2 strands because we use 2 strands held together. So take a stitch marker and mark those back loops. We're gonna work in that later when we work the petals. So make sure you remember to mark it. It's really important. Okay, and now we're working in the front loops only. So we mark the back. In the front loops only, we're gonna slip stitch and chain 1. So slip stitch and then chain 1 in each stitch around. In the back, or sorry, the front loops of each stitch around. So slip stitch, chain 1. Slip stitch, chain 1. You'll have a total of 20 stitches around. Sometimes it can be kind of tricky to get in those front loops only. But go ahead and complete that, the slip stitch and chain 1 all the way around until you have 20 stitches, and then I'll show you how we finish the center off. Okay, so I finished 20 stitches total. This creates that little kind of bumpy edge around the center. Okay, so now we're gonna fasten off and create an invisible join. So you just need enough yarn to weave your end in, pull the tail all the way through, and then put the yarn on your needle, and then we're gonna create an invisible join. So this was the beginning slip stitch of the round. I usually go over to the next stitch. So it would be the chain 1 right here. So take your needle from the front to the back, go under all the loops of the chain one. From front to back, just pull it through. It creates a faux loop. So it created this faux loop. Okay, and then working in the back loop only of the last stitch, which is the chain one right here, back loop only from the front to the back, pull that, and it creates a faux stitch. You just pull tight, not too tight. You want these two faux loops to be the same as the other loops, just like that, and then it's completely seamless. Okay, and then just weave the ends in. I'm going to do that off camera, but the same idea as before. Make sure if you work in the, or if you weave into the center, you don't get this too tight to where it won't fit around your button, but just go back and forth in the opposite direction a few times until you have that nice and secure. And then we are going to start on the petals. Okay, so this is what the finished center looks like. We still have our mark stitch. We're going to be working in the back loops that we did not work in from round one. So we marked the first stitch here, and then you'll see it kind of leaves these little ridges. These are all the unworked stitches, and that's where we're going to work the petals. Okay, so 2 strands held together of the gold metal color, a tail long enough to weave your ends in. Okay, and then you still want the right side to be facing you, and you kind of just turn the work towards you. Okay, so we're gonna insert our hook under the 2 loops of that marked stitch. So again, that was the back loop only of round 1. Okay, then we're gonna join the new color. So just yarn over and pull a loop through just like that. Okay, and then chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to work a double crochet in those same loops. So a double crochet is yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now a chain 2 picot. So you chain 1 and you chain 2. And then you slip stitch in the chain 1. So that was the chain 2, this is the chain 1. We're gonna work in the back hump of that chain. So these are all loops of the chain right there. If you turn it slightly, you'll find that back hump, which is right here. We wanna slip stitch into the back hump. Okay, so chain 1, sorry, that's the chain 2, that's the chain 1. And then slip stitch into that back hump. And that creates the little point at the top of the petal. Okay, and then we're gonna double crochet in that same stitch. Again, all these stitches are worked in that same stitch. It creates 1 petal. And then chain 2, and then slip stitch into that same stitch. So that is the first petal. Okay, and then we're going to basically repeat that method all the way around, and we'll have a total of 10 petals. So to start the second petal, chain 2, and then double crochet in that next back loop only. So you can see you have those ridges left. Those are those unworked back loops from round 1. So double crochet and then chain 2 and finish that picot, working in that back hump. So the picot stitch is the most difficult one. It's really easy, but trying to get your hook into those back humps is probably the hardest part, but it's really not bad. So if that's the hardest part in the whole pattern, it's not too bad. Okay, and then double crochet, chain 2, and then slip stitch. Okay, now we have 2 petals. Okay, I'm going to show you one more on camera. So chain 2, double crochet in those back loops, chain 2 picot, double crochet, and then chain 2. Slip stitch in that same stitch. Okay, just repeat that all the way around till you have 10 total stitches, and I'll meet you at the end and show you how we join. Okay, so I just finished my 10th petal. When you get to the 10th petal, the very end, you do not do the last chain 2 to set up the next petal. So you just do chain 2, slip stitch, and then you're finished. So we are going to fasten off. Pull the tail through. Your leaves, it is normal for them to be very close together like this. It'll feel like you're getting too many leaves in there, or sorry, petals in there, but we're good. Just make sure you have 10. Okay, so then fasten off, and then I will show you kind of how I finish that off. So I just kind of put it in the same space as that first leaf, from the front to the back, and just kind of pull through to the back. And then I just finish weaving the ends in just like before. So again, you want to make sure things are nice and secure, since you're going to be probably switching it out around that towel holder. Okay. So I'm going to finish weaving in off camera, and then we're going to set up to do the leaves. Okay, so everything is weaved in, and the thing I like about the sunflower is the leaves kind of overlap, and it's really nice and chunky, and you can kind of adjust it. You can kind of make your leaves however you want. It's really 3-dimensional. Okay, so for the leaves, you want the green color, 2 strands held together, and we attach each leaf separately to the back. So here's what I like to do. I like to go toward the base, and we're going to do a leaf kind of in between the petals so that it pops through. You want it to kind of pop through the petals like that. So I like to go right here. Do you see the center of the brown yarn kind of peeking through right there? I like to put my hook there and then join the green leaf color. So just pull a loop through, and then we're going to chain 2. So make sure you're working with the right side facing you. Just like that, kind of behind the flower. Okay, so that little brown loop that we inserted our hook, we're working the entire leaf in that loop. It's a little tedious, but you can get all the stitches in, trust me. Okay, so chain 2 and then double crochet under that same loop. Okay, and then we're gonna work 2 triple crochet. So a triple, you yarn over twice, insert your hook in that same loop. So this isn't an actual stitch, it's just the loops that the yarn kind of formed. Okay, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, one more triple. So yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so there's one side of the leaf, and then we're going to do another chain 2 picot to create that little point of the leaf. So chain 2, and then working in that back loop, slip stitch to create that picot. Okay, and then 2 triple crochet in that same stitch. Okay, 1 more triple. Okay, and then a double crochet. And then chain 2, 1, 2, and then in that same stitch, slip stitch to finish that leaf off. Okay, that is what the leaf should look like. Okay, now we're gonna fasten off. Okay, pull your tail through. I know it's kind of wonky and tight, but just kind of position your leaf how it needs to be. When you're working that leaf in that little spot I told you to, under the brown, just make sure nothing is peeking through to the front side. You can't see any green through, so we're good. Okay, and just kind of adjust the leaf where it needs to be and then weave in the ends. So when you're weaving the ends in, you can kind of get it positioned a little better and weave the ends under some of the yarn to hold it in place. So let me kind of show you that. Okay, so kind of twist it, get it in place, make sure it's peeking through the leaves nicely, and then just kind of start weaving those ends in. Maybe go under the brown portion here a little bit first to kind of get that side tacked down nicely, and then just continue weaving the ends in nice and tight. Okay, so I'm gonna do that part off camera. Again, I like to go back and forth in the opposite direction about 3 times before I cut off. And then you're gonna do that exact same process, another leaf right on the opposite side. So probably want to go about right here. All right, we are all set. It's all finished. Isn't it so cute? Here's what the leaves look like on the back. And it's all ready to put on the towel holder. So you just fit it right around the button. Kind of get it adjusted. And you're all set. I also have a daisy. I'll link that for you to check out, and a rose is coming next week. As always, the free written pattern is on my blog, and I'll have all the links to supplies and everything in the caption below. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. Enjoy.